So, Springtrap is almost here, and you are new to Dead by Daylight. There are so many killers, so many survivors, so much going on in this game that it can be hard when you're starting anew from scratch with sometimes the most basic of knowledge, if no knowledge at all, of Dead by Daylight. Well, this video is for you. I'm going to let you know some tips and tricks for newcomers to Dead by Daylight, noobs if you want to call it, and hopefully this will make your introduction to Dead by Daylight a little less severe and a little less hard. Hopefully you can have a bit of a softer hit on the ground, should we say, when you come into the game. I'm going to do 5 for killers, 5 for survivors, and then 5 general things to look out for in the game. These are the most basic of things, so if you are a Dead by Daylight veteran, you will know these things. You will know these things inside and out. But if you're new to DBD, these are things to note to make your life easier as you go into these games for the first time. I know that a lot of people will be playing DBD for the first time thanks to the release of Springtrap and the FNAF crossover, which I am incredibly looking forward to. Anyway, 5 for killers. So number 1, don't camp the hook. When you hook someone, they have an anti-camp meter. So if you stay near the hook or within the radius of the hook, that anti-camp meter will go up. And so once that anti-camp meter is full, which is an orange bar on the bottom for the survivor, they will be able to unhook themselves. And that is not something you want. This also counts for second hook too. So you don't want to let this occur. You want to be forcing survivors to unhook their teammates. So don't camp the hook. The only time this doesn't apply is when the end game collapse has started. So when all of the generators have been completed, that's the only time it counts. It doesn't count. 2. Don't stick chasing one person for too long, because this is when things like 3 gen, 4 gen chases happen, and that is when the other survivors have been left alone for too long and they have been rushing the generators that allow you to get out of the trial because you've been focusing on one survivor that you found for too long and they have been giving you the runaround. If a survivor is being very hard to catch, most often it can be much more productive going and checking other generators or trying to find other survivors. They may not be as good as that survivor, or it just allows you to slow the game down, and slowing the game down as a killer is much more in your favor. You want to stop the survivors doing gens after all. On that point, 3rd, don't forget to patrol your gens. There are certain builds that will allow you to really focus on just chasing survivors all the time. And obviously, if you can keep everyone chased a lot, then that stops them doing gens. But if you're not able to do that, you need to make sure you're patrolling your gens. Don't let the generators get away from you. Because when you've got 2 people on a gen, it starts progressing really quickly. So you want to be interrupting them. You want to be constantly keeping an eye on generators, and there are certain perks in the game that will allow you to keep an eye on generators, slow them down, tell you how far they've progressed, how many people are on them. There is a bunch of different perks in the game that will allow for that. So make sure you look through the perks for killers to make sure you've got a build that really helps you. So you want to be keeping an eye on those generators, because before you know it, they can get away with you. This very closely ties into the second point of not sticking in a chase too long. Because otherwise those generators, before you know it, 4 of them are gone and there's 1 gen left. And when there's 1 gen left and you've only got 1 or 2 hook states on the board, you've only hooked them once or twice, it's very difficult to get a really good result out of that game. So that's something to keep an eye on. Number 4, this is especially for killers. The right add-ons can make a huge difference. There are different rarity add-ons for killers that adjust their abilities and stuff slightly to give them different attributes. It may be seeing where survivors are from time to time. It might be an undetectability so they can't see you coming, or stuff like that, or extensions to the duration of certain things. These add-ons can make a massive difference, and every add-on is unique to killers because every killer ability is unique to those killers. There are a bunch of different add-ons of different rarities. There are some that are pretty rare that make a massive difference to the game. Look out for Michael Myers and his iridescent add-ons, otherwise known as the Shape, because that will always be the most terrifying of games for you. I can guarantee you that. But every killer has very powerful add-ons and it is worth looking through them and seeing and thinking, okay, what do I want? Do I want to see survivors more often? Do I want them to not see me coming? Do I want an easier ability, say? Or do I want to make my ability easier to hit? There are a bunch of different add-ons, and they're well worth looking through. And lastly, every killer plays different. You have to experiment. And the best way to experiment is to use what DBD gives you. And DBD gives you the ability to make custom games. You can go into custom games as killer, play against 4 bots, so you don't have to play against real players, and it allows you to test these killers out and see what suits your playstyle, because every DBD player plays very, very differently. You will play something like the nurse really, really, really differently to something like the trapper, because their abilities are unique to those killers, and so you're going to want to find what suits you. And none of them may suit you. It may be that you're just a killer in general. That's how often I do it. I don't have a specific killer that really calls to me. I play a lot of different killers. It depends how you feel, but make sure you take advantage of that custom game option to find out what suits you before you delve in the deep end going against real players. Okay, moving on to survivors. 5 survivors then. Do not forget about Unbreakable and Boon Exponential. So this is very, very key, simply because you may or you will start to hear about the idea of slugging. This is where killers will leave you on the ground in order to try and get other people down and out of the game. And to combat this, there are perks that can help you. Unbreakable is one of them, and Boon Exponential is another. Boon Exponential is a Michaela perk. This is not available at the start of the game. You have to unlock her, so that is a problem. But Unbreakable, which is a William Overbeck or Bill perk, is free at the start of the game. You can play Bill from the start. So this is an incredibly powerful perk, and it allows you to just get yourself up out of a dying state. If you're on the ground, on the floor, crawling around, you'll be able to get yourself up if you recover. So this is a really, really, really good thing to remember, because slugging is a thing in DBD. We don't like it, but it does happen. And it's probably going to happen as killers are being fairly sweaty because of Springtrap's release. And if you're new to the game, it's something really worth knowing. 2. Work out your playstyle. There are different ways to play DBD. You can be altruistic, i.e. a healer. You can look for the killer and loop them to your heart's content and become really good at that. You can be a gen jockey, i.e. just going from gen to gen, trying to do those gens as quickly as possible. Or you can be a saver. You can go in with a flashlight or something and try and save people that have been picked up by the killer. There are different ways to do this. If you're a saver, you want a flashlight. If you're a gen jockey, you probably want to take a toolbox with you. If you're a looper, you may want to take a map, but you probably want to stick to medkit. And definitely if you're an altruistic healer, you want a medkit. So there are different items you can take into a trial with you as a survivor that will play into your playstyle. So find out your playstyle, because it can really help you. Make sure you take that relevant item. Look through your blood web for number 3, because we are getting mass blood webbing with this new update. Don't just blood web for the sake of blood webbing, especially when you're new to the game. Find out what items there are and see what speaks to you. Very similar to the add-ons for killers. There are a bunch of items, offerings, stuff like that. You can take map offerings, you can go to certain maps, you can take certain items, and the items have different rarities. You can get all sorts of different rarity medkits, toolboxes, maps, keys. There's all sorts of different things. Look through them. Be diligent. Learn the game, because there's a lot of different aspects. Don't just freely just blood web when you find a survivor that you really like. Make sure you're picking up what you want, especially in the early days, because you will not have any items otherwise. So pick up the items you definitely want. When you get to, like, my P70 Sable, who's got everything that she could ever want in terms of items and add-ons, then you're fine. But that is a long journey. That is a long, long journey. You are at the start of your DBD journey. So make sure you look through that blood web and get what you want, rather than just blindly clicking. Number 4. Free character perks are some of the best perks in the game. When you load up DBD on PC, you will have Dwight Fairfield, David King, Claudette Morel, Jake Park, Nia Carlson, William Bill Overbeck, and Meg Thomas. If you're on console, I think you have Feng Min and Ace Visconti as well. These survivors have really good perks. We talk about Bill having Unbreakable. Meg has great perks. We have Quick and Quiet in the mix. We have Dwight with Leader, and we have David King with Dead Hard. We have Claudette Morel with Botany Knowledge. Jake Park with Saboteur and Iron Will. There are a load of different perks from these survivors, and they are free. Absolutely free. I know there are a lot of paid-for characters in DBD. We know that, and there are loads of different cool licenses. I personally am a Sable Ward main. You will have to pay for her. You can unlock her eventually through iridescent shards, but that takes a bit of grinding during the game. When you're first starting, have a look at those free characters because they have really good perks. Some of those perks, especially Feng Bing with Lithe as well, if you're on console, some of those perks will stick with you. Even when you're playing the licensed character you've always wanted to play, whether that be Alucard, whether that be Lara Croft, Sable Ward, Jill Valentine, you will still have those perks available when you prestige them. And those perks are still some of the most used perks in the game, even when you're on other survivors. So make sure you take a real good look at those, because they have some really great perks. 5, be patient with the game, because when you start out, it's going to be really overwhelming, it's going to be really scary, and you are not going to know what you're doing. There are so many killers in this game. There are so many ways you can die. There are so many things that go on during a DBD trial. You will get overwhelmed really quickly, but you will get used to it. You will get really used to it. In some respects, if you're starting the game now as a survivor, maybe you've just come in because of the FNAF chapter, it is a good time to come in my personal opinion. I know there may be some server issues, but you will be going mostly against Springtrap. So you will have a little bit of consistency in your games probably most of the time that will allow you to get used to the core mechanics of the game. And then when the hype around Springtrap dies down a little bit, you will start to see other killers come into the mix, and then you'll have to learn how to play against them. And believe me, there are killers I don't go up against that often that I'm still like, oh, I don't know how to loop them properly, because every killer is different. So be patient with the game, because there is a lot to learn, and it will not be learned in a very short amount of time. And there is not a lot, unless you've come from an asymmetric horror game before, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's not a lot of transferable skills from other popular games. So make sure, do your diligence, and be patient with the game. Now I'm going to quickly rattle through 5 general things to do. Keep an eye on the shrine. There will always be new perks in the shrine every single week. These will often be perks from killers or survivors you don't have. You can buy them iridescent shards, which you get by leveling up your account. So they are entirely free. Well worth looking through. You can get some really good perks that you may not have because you won't have those licensed killers. One of the biggest ones is Barbecue and Chili from the Cannibal, otherwise known as Bubba, from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Things like that can show up in the shrine, so you can have those perks despite not having the character that owns them. So keep an eye on the shrine every week. Perks, number 2, perks have 3 different tiers. So the perks will always do the same thing, but they will do it more efficiently the rarer they are. How to get the higher rarity perks? Well, you just level. You go through your blood web, you will find the perks. Once you find the perk once, it's unlocked. You find it again, it goes to tier 2. You find it again, it goes to tier 3. Tier 3 perk is the highest rarity, and it will be at its most efficient. So that is something to keep an eye on. Another way to get those perks is if you prestige 3 a survivor or killer, those perks will automatically be at tier 3 rarity for everyone. Doesn't matter who you play, they will be findable for everyone. They will be available for everyone. Prestiging is when you hit 50 levels in the blood web, you will prestige 1. Another 50 levels, you'll prestige 2. Another 50 levels, you'll prestige 3. So you need 150 levels. You won't be getting that quickly, but in the up-and-coming anniversary event, which is going to happen after the FNAF release, there'll be a lot of blood points on offer anyway. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Take advantage of trial characters. This third point is really important. They've only just introduced the ability to trial characters, so every now and then there will be characters on trial. Most recently, through the Witcher event, they have done Sable and Vittorio, Artist, Knight, Michaela. They've been trialed. So you can play these for free, even though usually you wouldn't have access to them. So then you can use them during these trial events, see if you like them, and then when it comes along that you say you like them, you're able to unlock them when you want them. Those killers and survivors I mentioned in the Witcher event are all non-licensed, so you would be able to do it with iridescent shards, so it's actually technically free. So make sure you take advantage of the trial events, because it allows you to trial characters you don't have, and it allows you to, again, see what you like. Number 4, weekly free gift. There is always a weekly free gift in the store. If you don't go to the store, you will not get it. Don't want to miss out on it. Sometimes it will give you rift fragments for the quote-unquote battle pass. We call it a rift pass. So that's always good. It allows you to progress that quicker. Sometimes it will give you blood points. So it can range from 50k blood points all the way up to about 250k blood points, I think, which will be extremely helpful when you're starting out and you're first leveling those characters. So keep an eye out for that weekly gift. Lastly, always take note of the pre-match offerings. It is extremely important. When you're loading into a game, you will get that screen where it brings up offering icons. Those are very important. You can hover over them and see what they do. There are 2 main ones to look out for. Hatch, spawns. Because there are 2 offerings and they are common offerings. Hatch in Killer Shack or hatch in main building. You really want to know if these offerings have been taken, because it gives you a really good indication of where you want to be if you are in the end game and you are going to look for hatch and you're the last survivor alive. It's really important. It will also tell you other things like people that have bought blood point offerings if you get extra blood points in the game, map offerings to send you to a certain map, luck offerings to increase the luck, hook offerings to change where hooks spawn, chest offerings to give you more chests or less chests, etc. Mist offerings to make it harder to see. There's a lot of different offerings, so keep an eye on that offering screen. The offering screen is so important, especially when it comes to those hatch spawns, if anyone brings those offerings, because it gives you an advantage in the end game. And believe me, a killer with a little bit of DBD knowledge will be looking at that, and they will want to get ahead of you. So you want to have those offerings in your head, you want to have noted them, because it will give you an advantage. It will give you a head start if those offerings have been given. But those are the tips. It's been a little bit of a lengthy video, but I hope it's helped you. I hope to see you in the fog, because I love this game. I think it's great. I have about 1,000 hours in it, so I think that's evident that I love the game. And there's plenty of people with even more hours than that. I hope you enjoy Spring Trap if you are joining from the FNAF announcement and the FNAF release. I think it's going to be really exciting. I cannot wait to play on Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. I think it's going to be excellent, and I hope you all have a great time if you are new to DBD, because this game is genuinely excellent. Every game has its ups and downs, but at the core of it, DBD is an excellent game, and I think you will have a lot of fun with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you find this helpful. Any other tips for newcomers to DBD, make sure you leave them in the comments below. Let's welcome these new players with big open arms and give them a great time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.